and welcome to an uncharacteristically funky edition of Ben's Junk. Because as we all know, white South Dakotan boys are totally known for bringing the funk, y'all. So, before I begin my usual backstory, since this is a little out of my usual wheelhouse, let me go ahead and introduce the item and the concept right away. This is a Whippany Rhythm Master, which is a fairly early drum machine. Well, maybe not quite that early. According to Wikipedia, not my favorite source, the first stab at programmable rhythm supposedly dates to the early 13th century. However, the first stab at a drum machine as we would know it now dates to the early 1930s. However, the first usable and commercially available ones date to the late 50s, and they started becoming kinda common in the mid to late 60s. Now, usually these things would be run through an organ, like a Hammond or a Lowry electric organ, and these were most commonly used in places like cocktail lounges, not necessarily on records or anything. But having said that, they did occasionally appear on those space age pop kind of albums that were coming out in the 60s. The only ones I can think of offhand would be Dick Hyman's two Moog synthesizer albums from 69, which are fascinating albums if you can find them. But anyway, as best as I can gather, this baby dates to sometime in the 1969 to 74 range. So anyway, what set this whole thing in motion for me stemmed from the last two regular archive episodes, Scanimate and Dialing for Dollars. So I wanted to be able to do some really tacky rendition of Pavand, the archive's theme song, particularly for Dialing for Dollars, or just do some kind of mock theme song, and I just couldn't do it, couldn't come up with it, didn't have the gear. But really, the more I think about it, the more I'd really like to just be able to come up with some new incidental music for archive. And as you may have noticed, I've pretty much stopped using outside stuff when I need montage music or whatever, and I've just been rotating the same three songs over and over. So I picked this up because I don't have a real drum kit, nor do I have the space or desire for one. But also, I've never owned a drum machine, strangely enough, given my somewhat musical background. And also, the archive thrives on outdated, weird things, and true to Benny Boy form, the price was right. So, hopefully, this will be the first step towards some more period appropriate incidental music for the kind of stuff I tend to cover on archive. But anyway, I'm sure you'd love to see and hear this sucker in action. Well, be prepared for some pseudo space age bachelor pad type grooves. Alas, I don't have an old Hammond or Lowry organ just lying around, so I've had to settle for running it through my guitar amp, and actually my original one, the only real one I've ever owned. That is a Crate GX15R from 1997, and I am the original owner. But anyway, I've got this set just for basic neutral EQ. There is no reverb or any other effect on it. So any reverb you hear is coming from the Rhythm Master. It's not any of my doing. So anyway, I've got it mic'd up, and let's just go for it. So at its most basic, you can use this as a metronome, only in 4/4 time though. Let me slow that down a bit. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. But of course, we got into this for what kind of funky rhythms it could come up with. So let's just do a run through of the basic ones. So I'll turn it back on here. And actually, they have 2 rock ones, but they have them out of order. So the first one is rock number 2, then it's number 1. But let's start with number 2. It's like every 60s novelty tune. I was working in the lab late one night when my eyes beheld an eerie sight. Or speed it up a bit. I'm Henry the Eighth, I am Henry the Eighth, I am. And of course, if you speed anything up on this, it just becomes EDM. That'll be a hit in the clubs. So let's jump to rock 1, which is actually 6/8, that 50s stroll kind of thing. But if you speed it up, or actually let's start by slowing it down, you can turn it into a little blues jam. Ooh girl, you broke my heart so bad. But if we speed this up, we can kick it up to shuffle levels. Makes you wish it could have a little more instance of that kick instead of just that flat 1 each time. Anyway, how about a mambo? Okay, it's not really what a mambo would sound like in my mind. And back to EDM territory. Okay, that's actually closer to it. Can't think of any mambo tunes offhand. How about cha-cha-cha? That should be an easy one. Cha-cha-cha. Cha-cha-cha. Okay, that makes sense. If I slow it down, I can almost turn it into a tango. If I speed it up, seems to be the same as everything else. So how about a bossa nova? Da, 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 da. Yeah, I can't sing, but yeah, okay, I can see that. Okay, how about a rumba? Yeah, okay. Seems like a rumba should swing a little more, but we are talking a nearly 50-year-old drum machine here. Now, I do love this one. I do love me a good polka. Or almost a march. And then I've noticed if you speed it up just right, you can turn it into kind of, I don't know, a punk polka. Okay, so Western does 2 things. You can do the kind of get along little doggy kind of thing. But if you speed it up, you can turn it into a pretty cool shuffle. Yeah. All right, I like that one. Foxtrot. For the life of me, I can't really think of what a foxtrot sounds like offhand, but okay. And I love that, as you noticed already, this thing can occasionally break the tyranny of 4/4 time. So we can do a waltz on here for 3/4. Do some merry-go-round music. I'm not sure what that is. A really bad slow jam. There, that's the merry-go-round sound. Or kind of an insistent rock. Okay. Now you can merge rhythms on this. You can hold down 2 buttons at a time and get some pretty interesting polyrhythms out of this. Having said that, if you try and clash time signatures, like put a waltz up against a normal 4/4 thing, one tends to take dominance over the other. So things do get kind of canceled out. So let's put a waltz up against that 60s novelty tune rock beat. So in this case, it's brought it down to 3/4. Or if we try and merge 3/4 and 6/8, now it's a machine gun waltz. How about waltz up against mambo? Like I said, you can get some pretty interesting rhythms out of this. How about a waltz up against the cha-cha? Yeah, that's a definite techno beat. Put a waltz up against something a little more swinging. That's kind of cool. Okay, let's just do some random ones. Rock one up against rumba. That's a really cool shuffle, a really unique one. How about polka up against the mambo? Okay, I'll buy that. Rumba up against the cha-cha. Okay, all right. I think you get the idea. But before I pack it in, I'd like to try and drag this thing kicking and screaming into at least the 80s. So let's take a cut here, and I'm going to try and hook a little something up and see if I can't modernize this just slightly. Okay, in an attempt to modernize this slightly, I've dug out my old digital delay pedal, so let's see if we can get this up to at least 1980 or so. So, I don't know, let's try some tempo stuff. I have just the basic rock beat for starters. That's kind of a mess. Yeah, let's try a different tempo. Okay, very insistent. Okay, that's all right. It's like a very, very clumsy early 90s house track. Okay, last tempo. Okay, I've just turned a rock beat into a cha-cha. All right, let's go down to a general delay. I'm just right on the edge of some 80s hip-hop. Some early hip-hop. It just ain't happening. I can almost fake a drum fill. That's not too bad. Let's see what happens when I just crank everything. Yeah. Okay, I can do reverse. Okay, I just added a DJ to that. Okay, how if I just make it clamp down on something? So it's recording, I let it go. Yeah, that almost works. Okay, let's turn that off. Let's see if I can't push this into a more industrial territory. Let's see if we can't get into Gary Newman territory. That ain't working. I'm just randomly trying things. It's almost a march. Yeah, we're getting into 80s territory there. 80s alternative. Yeah. Oh, how about that? I made an unintentional march. Alright, well, I guess I better quit while I'm ahead. Alright, well, that's it for this Ben's junk. Hope you didn't mind my playing around with this stuff. Sometimes I'm just a little too easily amused. I'll talk to you again soon.